Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. If you see something, don't say a damn thing. A controversial video out of the Denver public school system was shown to students, which highlights 6 so-called tips for responding to racist attacks. One of those tips encourages people to turn a blind eye if they witness a racist or homophobic incident. Instead of calling the police, the video advises people instead talk to the victim, comfort them. Denver public schools have since apologized and insisted the video wasn't properly vetted. My next guests agree it's still irresponsible.
Chief Dotson, when you take a look at the video that Denver public schools put out in at least one school there, Denver South, how far did they go wrong with this video, or do you think they went wrong by telling students if they see someone being racially attacked or being attacked by a racist or racists involved in an attack, that they should not call the police because of the way law enforcement treats minorities and or LGBTQ? Your thoughts on that, Chief?
Well, my thoughts was very devastating when I saw that, because it tells me that there's a lack of trust. And when it comes to having to depend on those who provide police services to our community, trust is the main key factor. And for a school district to train their students not to trust police, there is a fundamental principle that has gone awry. Number one, the school district probably failed to review that article or those tapes before it became public, failure on their part. And if there is that much distrust in the community, the police has a lot of work to do. And so I see that as failure on the part of the school. But also I see that the police department probably has more work to do than they realize that they have.
So do you think there is any validity to the claims in the video that if police respond to minorities, they tend to be rough with them, less compassion?
That certainly has happened in the past. And we always judge the future by the incidents that have happened in the past. And so I'm sure that there are some who still feel that way, that they can't trust the police, so why call the police? That's why I said law enforcement has a lot of work to do to continue to build those bridges of trust. And when you have people that rely on past incidents, that they can't trust the police in the future, that's a tragedy in my heart, in my opinion.
And Louis Hunter, as a parent, your thoughts on this video and the position that those who created this video took in it, telling students do not call police if there's a racial attack?
I think a few things. Number one, I agree with the chief. I think it underscores the lack of confidence that particularly minorities have in law enforcement. But I also think that it highlights the motive. I'm looking at the motivations of why a school district would say that. And certainly there's an economic impact for issues that make national headlines with respect to race. And I think to a certain degree, it involves some of that. This is kind of a reverse no snitching, but in this case, it's on the part of the school district and the political movings that go on whenever a big case hits the news. My experience has always been that law enforcement in general treats minority communities differently. First, poor communities, but as a very close second, if not right beside it, minority communities. I've seen that. A 16-year-old kid who someone calls the police on in a poor neighborhood, predominantly Black neighborhood, will be treated differently than a kid who's a 16-year-old, somewhere in a more affluent neighborhood. So for that reason, yeah. Do I believe that we should still call the police? Absolutely. Do I think that the video should have been released before it was vetted? I don't see how that mistake was made. We're talking about a school district. There are many layers that could have prevented this, but it did, and those are my thoughts on that.
All right. Well, we want to thank you both for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And of course, Denver Public Schools, one of their officials there said that the video, as you both said, was not properly vetted, but it was still played and put in the schools back in 2017, I think, right? And so many law enforcement agencies have since seen that video and they've come out against it, even signing a letter saying as much. But thank you both for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. Appreciate your time.